Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today, another fun one, another interesting one. We haven't actually spoken in real time coming up on 2022 about this in a little while, so super relevant. We've gotten a lot of questions, but we'll be talking about how hot the Denver market is.
All right, guys, let's check it out. What's up, guys? I'm Eli Schmidt. This is my business partner, Will Grimes. And if it's your first time checking out our channel, welcome. And while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell, because every Tuesday and every Thursday and every other Saturday, we're dropping a new video telling you everything there is to know about moving to or living in the entire Denver, Colorado area.
100%. And we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you guys with those real estate needs. So that number popping up, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. Give us a call. We'd love to help you guys out. With that being said, I'm almost like, he's getting so good at his intro. Oh, and every other Saturday. I'm like, man, I can't wait till we have videos every day so we can go, and every Monday, and every Tuesday, and every Wednesday. I'm waiting. I'm like, man, is he still going to be good? I'm thinking so much like that I want him to mess his up so we have good bloopers. I almost messed mine up, which is not good. And before we get into the content today, apologies for being in the truck. It's my truck. It's a gorgeous truck. I love my truck. However, there are like 65 to 85 mile an hour winds today. We're going to go out and do some drone footage and some different stuff. Trees are getting uprooted. Trampolines are flying over fences. It does not, full disclosure, does not happen that often in Colorado, but every once in a while, we do get some days that are heavy winds. I'd probably say, man, maybe 5 days out of the year, 3 days out of the year where like wind is extremely, extremely heavy. So a little heavy today, so we are safe inside our my Dodge truck.
Hey, that thing got a Hemi.
Shout out to Dodge if you're watching.
Ram.
Sponsorships are welcome. What up?
Yep.
Either way, let's get into it. Let's talk about how hot the Denver market actually is and what it looks like for you guys as consumers.
Okay, so diving right into it, we wanted to make this video because these are very common questions that we get from you guys. Once you reach out to us about buying a home and we jump on a Zoom call, a lot of the same questions get asked. And when a lot of the same questions get asked, we like to make a video about it. So with this one specifically, we want to talk about how hot is the Denver real estate market and some of the things that you can expect when shopping for a home out here and making offers, such as how far over asking price do they go, or do they go under asking price? How long do homes stay on the market? And are buyers having to like waive all sorts of crazy things in order to win an offer? So we're going to dive into those for you.
Easy answer, yes and no.
Yes and no. Yes and
Everything is like just circumstantial to home specifically. And like, yes, before we even get too far, like buyer agents don't cost you any money as a buyer, right? When you're a buyer and you have a buyer's agent, obviously the person that's selling the home pays for both sides of the real estate deal.
Right. So
they're not costing any money, but yes, who you're working with can cost you a deal. So especially out here in Colorado, reputation matters, communication matters, your history within this industry matters. And if it's not good, if you're not proactive with how you communicate, it doesn't go well. Like, yes, they can hurt you, they can cost you the home that you're looking for. So when it comes to, hey, are we going over asking price, you know, things like that, I'll give you one piece that speaks super strong to the market. Market dictates market, right? So when people are pricing homes, they do their best to say, okay, like when you're looking at like comps in the area, hey, where do we price it? Right in the middle, where it's expected. Are we going to go higher? Are we going to go too low?
He's talking about when you're going to sell a house.
When you're going to go sell a house, right? Some agents, some sellers do get a little bit overzealous and they try to start too high. And even though we are the second hottest market in the country, homes will sit if you outprice where you should be at. So a lot of where like, are we going to go over asking price? Like, what is that going to look like? It's dictated by the market and it's dictated by demand, right? So we've seen homes sit on the market because they started out way too hot and people were like, hey, I'm not in it for that price. And it was a collective decision. And like you see homes sit for over 30 days in Colorado, not good. Versus you price it competitive or you price it right where it should be and you allow people to come see the home. And then people are willing to pay a certain amount to beat out other offers in order to win that home, because specifically for that home, they're in it for more money. But this is like trying to give you guys a little bit of a description as far as like, what does market mean? Market is literally people, and it's literally them saying, I'm in a home for this much and I'm willing to pay more because of this. But it doesn't always happen all the time. So don't think that everyone's just overpricing homes and, oh, there's a bubble and they're not going to be worth it. That's not true. Homes are getting paid for. I don't want to get too long-winded. It's all based off of the demand that they are in it for. And I'm beating a horse right now.
Now, why I like that, guys, and why that's really important before we move on to that next topic is because in a bubble market, that means artificial value. That means people are throwing their money at anything and everything just to get a house in Colorado because for whatever reason it's artificially inflated. This is not that market. People are putting their money where there's real value. For example, if a house, first of all, is competitively priced. Second of all, if the house has a number of things about it that make it special, like maybe the updates inside are very Chip and Joanna Gaines HGTV.
Shout out to Chip and Joanna.
Shout out to Chip and Joanna.
That you're gonna be like, shiplap, a shiplap, a shiplap, a shiplap.
Maybe it backs to open space. Maybe the yard is unusually large and well cared for. Those are all kind of X factors that will really gain some buyer competition to make it go up and up and up.
Or views. Views are a big thing. And as you know, as Colorado continues to get more incorporated, your opportunity for having an amazing view will get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, which means when those houses do pop up with a certain view, it's not so much that the cost of the house has gone up, it's the cost of the soil that it sits on that has gone up. But either way, even if people spend what's over asking price, and even if it doesn't appraise, right, and people have to bring in that appraisal gap to cover the difference between appraised value and what they're paying for it, once it's sold, guys, it's county record. It's stamped, it's sold for that much, which means it's now that value of that neighborhood and everyone else comps. So it's not like you're buying a car where the second you drive it off the lot, it's no longer worth what you paid. Not at all. Different process. Up and up and up. And to summarize this point, guys, short answer, if a place shows well in person, it shows well online, and it's priced competitively, and it's going to go over asking price, yes. But that's just an appreciating market. If it is not priced appropriately, if it's even priced just slightly higher than market value, you might sit there. Maybe it might just get 1 or 2 offers on it, so the competition isn't that much. So it really is a house-by-house basis, but we're really good at winning offers, and we have a lot of luck with our client. So let's get into that. When you have homes that are going over asking price, that listing agent has an extraordinary responsibility to cover, right? Because that listing agent is going to be discussing with their clients, hey, which offer do we take? And believe it or not, it's not always just the highest one, right? So when you're looking at, like when Eli and I sell homes, when we're looking at them, we're having people throw everything at us and over asking price and, hey, we're going to cover the entire gap. We've talked about this before. We got to verify all of your information. So if your lender's not contacting us, I got to contact your lender. Not a red flag, but that buyer's lender should be contacting us. And they should be super aware that their realtor and their buyer is out submitting that and has submitted an offer on a home. That lender should already be aware of that. They should be calling me and speaking to me about their client. I should not be calling them, asking them about their client. If we have to do that, hey, that's cool. We still make the phone call, but hey, are they aware of their client? Are they aware of the address that the client made an offer on? And hey, they're offering $100,000 over asking price. They've got to be prepared to cover that entire gap. Are they prepared to cover that entire gap? And if that lender says yes, great. Hey, listen, do you mind telling me where those funds are coming from? Is it a 401k? Is it a retirement? Is it cash? Is it in the bank? Yes, it matters. And here's why it matters. A lot of people will go super over asking price, but in the back of their minds, they think that they don't actually have to bring all of that money. So if it's $1 million home, they offer 1.1, oh, but it'll appraise. It's gorgeous. Oh, I shouldn't. And if it doesn't appraise, maybe it's 10 or 20 below, but it's not going to be 100,000 below. The bottom line is it could be. Right, so they have to be prepared for that. Secondly, let's say it's 50 grand below, but they were assuming it wasn't going to be below at all. And because their funds are coming from a 401k or a retirement where they're going to get taxed to pull it out, how reluctant are they to pull that out versus like, have they been looking at other homes since they've been under contract with you? And do they fall out of contract because they don't like their loan conditions, right? So like, yes, where the gap comes from, how easily accessible it is for those buyers, Yes, it does matter how prepared that lender is with his client and the circumstances of this specific home and the taxes in this home and the conditions of the contract to this home are all super important. So when we've gotten ourselves on the buyer side with you guys, yes, all of these I's and all of these T's, they get dotted and we're super professional about it. And this is what allows us to win a lot of offers with you guys. And if for some reason like a super higher offer gets picked, we're still diligent about that home because, believe it or not, what most people don't pay attention to in the real estate world is back on market. Back on markets happen because homes fall out of contract. And hey, are we up every single morning looking at back on markets? Looking at price decreases? Yes. Price decreases come from homes that have been sitting too long. So in addition to winning a competitive home, hey, being super diligent, keeping our eye on the ball with some that have been sitting for a little while, and that price drops, hey, should we be looking at it? Should we take a second look at it? Absolutely. And the biggest thing when it comes to those is, hey, things you can change and things you cannot change about a home. If it's in a cul-de-sac, if it backs up to a golf course or a green belt and it's gorgeous and it's now readily available for you, but it didn't have the kitchen you wanted, could you create the kitchen you wanted in that home, but have that footprint? Because that footprint and that soil is going to be super high demand for you guys. It's going to be a great resale value for you guys if you ever choose to, or if you just want to refinance down the road, the value of that home is going to be significantly higher than some of the other ones in that neighborhood. Even if the entire neighborhood is increasing, you might increase a little bit more because of that spot.
Now, diving into how many offers can you expect to make before getting one accepted? Now, short answer, it could be the first one. We win our first offers quite frequently.
One shot, one kill.
All the things that Will just mentioned are exactly how we get our offers accepted. Now, there are some times where, hey, we just don't win the house because we didn't even want it for that price that it ended up going for anyway. That's normally the case. But to give you guys an average, and this is going off of our data, not the rest of the data that and man, sometimes we'll get clients from other agents that they'll say they literally put in 15 offers. I would say for us, if we're at 3 missed offers, that's a lot. That's a lot that we're missing. And it's like, hey, at this point, let's regroup. Let's see kind of what we could be doing a little differently.
If we're at 3, it's like, I was probably busy with some other stuff and Eli was submitting offers and it's like, Jesus criminy, bro.
Might be the case.
All jokes aside, guys, like there are other, agents that do a great job. There are other offers that just have prepared buyers and they win an offer. More times than not, when it starts getting significantly too high and it just starts getting weird, it's more so you guys as buyers just going, hey, we love the house, but if we're going to spend that much, we want to go look at some other houses also in that price range that maybe don't go that much over asking price because we're not in that home for that much, right? Which is probably the best conclusion you guys can come to, is more importantly to market demand or how many offers are going in on a home. More importantly is, hey, going through this experience, what are you in the home for?
Yeah.
Right? And then making sure that you guys have zero buyer's remorse and you're happy with your purchase. And yes, there is a way to accomplish that even in a hot market.
Now, the final question we want to address here is, are buyers having to waive all sorts of crazy stuff? Waive inspections, waive appraisals in order to win offers? And short answer is no. And between Will and I, one of the things that I pride ourselves on, that I think we do very, very well, is when we present an offer, we make that offer look very, very appealing to the seller. But at the same time, our buyers are very, very protected. So, for example, no, we're not waiving inspection. We're not waiving inspection.
And here's the deal, guys. Like, believe it or not, within conversations from realtor to realtor, right? So the realtor that's selling the home and Eli and I as realtors helping you guys buy a home, there's not a need to waive an inspection, right? You guys could ask for 100 things and the seller can just politely say no, right? And I want to make this clear because things get thrown out in layman's terms where people are like, oh, like you're waiving inspection. You're not, because in your head you're thinking like, why would we ever buy a home that didn't get inspected? You're not. So when people waive things, they typically waive what's called their inspection objection. As in, we have the right to have an inspection. We have the right to terminate upon inspection. We just don't have the right to ask you anything on an inspection objection. As in, we're going to get the home inspected. And then if there's a couple of little things here and there that aren't quite perfect about the home, it's just more on the buyer to fix those as they see fit versus asking sellers to fix it prior to closing. So when people say
terminate and walk away.
Or you terminate and walk away, right? Like, so it's just getting clear on the context of when people say, oh yeah, like you got to waive inspection to buy a home in Colorado. No. It's inspection objection that sometimes people are okay to waive. depending on home, year it was built, what it looks like, you know, waiving an inspection objection is not necessarily a bad thing. Waiving an inspection? No, you don't buy a home without getting it inspected. We've had brand new homes, guys, that just didn't even finish the sewer.
Yeah.
And they're not bad builders, like things just slip through cracks sometimes, but this is why you have inspectors who are licensed go through even brand new builds. When we help you guys buy those, we have inspections at each phase, and then we have that final inspection to make sure everything is how it should be, because you don't have somebody, even if they're okay to replace it like a new build, they replace that sewer, but they have to rip up the entire landscape and driveway to get it done versus like, and no, by the way, it was not ours.
No.
But they've got to get all that done just to get it how it should have been, right? So just doing your due diligence. Yes, you get inspection. You don't waive that. You waive your objection.
No, and that applies to pretty much everything. Like Colorado as a whole is a very buyer-friendly state, meaning, yes, it's competitive, but once you go under contract, that seller can't just back out of the contract with you, right? They can't just say, oh, I changed my mind, I'm going with a different buyer. However, you as a buyer have multiple places throughout a contract where you could terminate and walk away if it turns out the house is not for you.
Bottom line, right? You guys have plenty of due diligence time to get your earnest money back, and we go find you a different home.
Yep.
And the reason why we bring that up is, yes, when we are submitting an offer, it gets very competitive at times, and there's gonna be a lot of excitement along with a lot of anxiety or stress, like, oh my gosh, like we're really submitting this offer and we could win, and oh man, we won, we just bought a home. No, you did not buy a home. You still have your due diligence, we still have inspections, we still have appraisal, you still have your loan conditions through your lender or our preferred lender. Scott Leffert does an amazing job. You still have plenty of due diligence to make sure, as long as it is what they say it is and the condition that they say it's in and it's worth what they say it's worth, then you have a deal. But it's good to understand that going into it, because when we've got to get competitive on the offer side, if you think that submitting an offer and them accepting it is you being married to the home, you're going to be a little bit more reluctant versus just understanding us winning the contract is they're choosing to speak with us.
All right, guys, so those are the few of the top questions that we get in regards to how hot is the market, what can we expect when we're making offers out here in Colorado. So again, if you guys have any other follow-up questions, if you are thinking about it, we say it all the time, but please don't hesitate to reach out.
Because we are licensed brokers in the state of Colorado. And yes, as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping back up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. With that being said, you guys enjoy your week, enjoy your weekend, and I'm sure we will see you guys very soon.
That's right. See you guys. Perfect. I think that was good.
You're perfect. He's
perfect.
perfect.